Hello and welcome to What's Happening. In this regular roundup, Real Media and Phoenix Media Cooperative team up to provide unashamedly internationalist and subversive news, highlighting the work of people who are organising to forge a better world. Climate litigation charity Plan B was in the High Court last week supporting 3 student climate activists who are challenging the government over lack of meaningful climate action. The campaign is also being supported by Stop the Mangamizi. Outside the court, supporters set up a loud sound system pumping out tunes all morning. The hearing on the 25th of November was an appeal following an initial refusal to proceed with litigation which the activists had served on the Prime Minister, the Chancellor and the Energy Minister back in May. The case is being brought by Adetola Onamade, Jerry Amakwando and Marina Trix. We spoke with Adetola and Jerry after the hearing.
We don't come to these courts in order to make a plea, to ask them to do justice. We present to them the opportunity to do justice because we know what justice looks like.
I've seen videos being sent to me on a weekly basis from my family in Jamaica of landslides, exacerbating weather conditions, lack of livelihoods being able to be transferred from one to another because the land will not allow it anymore.
I'm from the Fanti and Gardangme people who are around the middle regions of West Africa. Traditionally subsistence, fish farming communities, their coasts are now being erased and eroded en masse, and tidal waves have become the norm, and flooding is now becoming the norm, even in the city centre of Accra in Ghana. Now, that doesn't include the pollution of the River Densu, of the River Ankobra, where so many of our communities live, and are now unable to drink the clean, fresh water that they were drinking before. That doesn't include the dispossession of their lands because of new mines that are being built to extract bauxite and now lithium, which has just been found in the country. And it doesn't include the violent repression that the UK taxpayer currently contributes to the training of militaries in Ghana who have been killing investigative journalists, killing environmental activists and earth defenders as recently as in the last few weeks.
This is the reality of these people defending our right to life and family life and to not be discriminated against, and yet they're still discriminated in a way where repression is part of that discrimination constantly every day in the global south.
What the courts have to rule on today is whether or not they're going to step away from that legacy and move to stand with the global majority, or they will be standing with the lawyers of the governments who were making arguments trying to deny and erase the impacts of the climate crisis.
The financial flows through the City of London are 15% of global emissions, and that they acknowledge, the government themselves, that it is heading us towards 4 degrees warming. 4 degrees warming means that half of the population may not even survive. There will be mass migration, there will be complete social collapse.
We are waiting to see where they will stand so that we can prove that case that we have long known for a long time for everyone to know and make it very clear that these courts are not the courts that are building the future that we need to.
Several days after COP26, they're imprisoning protesters for sounding the alarm. So, as you can imagine, like many other young people who are concerned about what action is being taken, I have very little faith in the judiciary system, in these judges.
What's starting to finally reach home for the ordinary peoples of this part of the world is that these institutions, which have failed us and had nothing but contempt for our peoples for centuries, have that same contempt for the working classes, for the ordinary peoples, and anyone who is interested in justice.
The judgment on their appeal will be handed down sometime in the coming weeks. Parallel to the litigation route, the campaign is about resistance and community building, as described by Adetola here.
We have a global majority resistance jam every last Saturday of the month in Brixton Station Road. People can present what they believe the solutions are, and we can work out our own rule of law, which is the people's law, which is exactly what they've been doing in communities that we're linked with in Pueblos Unidos, and where the third co-claimant actually is Marina Trix, who's in Mexico. So they send in their videos and they're projected in the middle of Brixton. So yeah, it's a day of music, resistance stories, art, exhibitions, and speaking to people about how we adapt and prepare for this.
The 25th of November was International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. In London, there was a protest vigil outside New Scotland Yard organised by Million Women Rise. The rally is called annually to honour women and girls who have been killed by men. The day was also marked by protests, marches and gatherings across the world, with the die-in in El Salvador, a large march in Spain and a very heavily policed rally in Mexico. La Via Campesina, the international peasants movement, marked the day with a newly launched graphic book that traces the path of peasant and popular feminism. In a series of powerful illustrations, it reveals the role of women in the global fight for food sovereignty and their centrality in promoting peasant and popular feminism in their territories and organisations. There are also testimonies by peasant leaders from across continents in implementing the global campaign to end violence against women, which La Via Campesina has been championing for many years. The book is a free download at the Via Campesina website and down in the links below. Environmental campaigners held a 24-hour rally and fast outside Downing Street this week in support of imprisoned Insulate Britain protesters who they describe as political prisoners. Among the 9 people currently in prison is Emma Smart. She has just been moved to the hospital wing at HMP Bronzefield due to deteriorating health after 14 days on hunger strike. Another 9 have been summoned to the High Court on the 14th of December and are likely to face the winter in prison. The campaign calls for meaningful government action on home insulation to tackle fuel poverty and carbon emissions. The Age UK charity launched their Cost of Coal campaign this week, warning that more than 1 million older households will be plunged into fuel poverty. Fuel Poverty Action also protested at the weekend outside Parliament about the more than 10,000 excess winter deaths caused by cold homes. Whatever you think about Insulate Britain protests, consider how much media coverage Age UK and Fuel Poverty Action received. Following the horrific drowning of 27 refugees attempting the Channel crossing on the 24th of November, a solidarity protest attracted hundreds at a short notice on Thursday outside the Home Office, calling for safe passage and an end to the hostile environment. Some of the widely believed lies about refugees, often spread by corporate newspapers and echoed by television news, were dispelled by straightforward facts in a speech by Lord Kerr of Kinlochard, who, as a member of the Trilateral Commission and Deputy Chairman of Scottish Power, is not exactly anti-establishment or Marxist.
First, overall refugee numbers currently running at about a half of where they were 20 years ago. We are not the preferred destination in Europe. We are, as Baroness Hamway said, well down the list of preferred destinations. Second, the principal reason why clandestine numbers are up is that official resettlement routes are shut. We've closed the Syrian scheme, we've scrapped the Dubs scheme, we've left Dublin free, we haven't got an Afghan scheme up and running. 3,187 Iranians came in the last 18 months. In the same period, 1 got in by the official route. 1. How many came from the Yemen in these 18 months? The Yemen, riven by civil war and famine. None by the official route. Not 1. Third set of facts. The Home Secretary says 70% of Channel crossers are, I quote, economic migrants, not genuine asylum seekers. That is plainly not true. Her own department's data show that well over 70% of asylum seekers coming across the Channel in small boats are genuine asylum seekers, not economic migrants. These people are fleeing persecution and destitution, and the sea route from France is the only one open to them. My lords, unless we provide a safe route, we are complicit with the people smugglers. What drives us down that road is sheer political prejudice, not the facts, because the facts do not support the case for cruelty.
The Serbian government is facing massive protests over their plans to allow Anglo-Australian corporation Rio Tinto to mine for lithium in the Jada Valley, an agricultural area in the west of the country. Rio Tinto's reputation is mired in ecological damage, corruption, and human rights abuses across the world. People are also angry about constitutional changes which weaken democratic influence over large-scale infrastructure projects. The government is removing the right to public referenda, and introducing sweeping powers of compulsory purchase. Hundreds of landowners and households are being lured by current payouts or face compulsory buyouts and relocation later, but site development is cynically being held off until after the next election in Serbia. Aside from the local issues surrounding the large-scale mining of lithium, the larger question is whether the rush to battery power risks opening up new ecological problems rather than addressing problems of overconsumption and finding ways to reduce demand. That's all for this week's What's Happening. Remember, Real Media and Phoenix Media Cooperative have joined forces to bring you a weekly newsletter to keep you up to date with inspiring actions from around the world. You can subscribe here to check it out. Also, we'd love you to tell us if there are stories or issues you'd like us to cover in coming newsletters and shows. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe and share, and join us again next week for more truly independent news.